When people think of Pennsylvania, they picture cities, steel, and rolling farmland. But behind the highways and headlines lies another Pennsylvania. A deeper one, where forests run uninterrupted for miles, where gorges hide rivers older than memory, and where the earth has folded and cracked in ways only time understands. This is a place where fog pools and hemlock groves, where abandoned quarries glow with color, and where ancient mountains still hum beneath the leaves. It's not just unseen, it's unlooked for, and it's been waiting, quietly. Pennsylvania's true wildness doesn't live in the spotlight. It lives in forested plateaus, in hidden waterfalls, in caves, ridges, and river valleys that remain untouched by pavement or fame. Here, the Allegheny Plateau stretches like a green ocean, the Appalachians rise in layered shadow, and places once forgotten by industry are now reclaimed by time and moss. This isn't a state of peaks, it's a state of depth. In Unseen Pennsylvania, we'll explore only the natural wonders and best-preserved places. The landscapes that endured, that healed, and that now whisper louder than the world above them. Deep within the Loyalsock region of northern Pennsylvania lies Ricketts Glen State Park, home to a series of waterfalls so numerous and tightly packed that they feel less like a trail and more like a descent into another world. While the park is known for Ganoga Falls, the tallest at 94 feet, it's the lesser-known sections of the Falls Trail that define its soul. Names like Tuscarora, B, Reynolds, and Wyandotte Falls are carved into stone and mist, each tumbling through gorges surrounded by hemlock, sandstone, and moss-covered boulders. Many of these falls are reachable only by foot, along narrow paths where the air hangs cool and damp, and where the sound of water never truly fades. Each turn reveals a new cascade, some hidden in hollows, others spilling across wide rock ledges like steps for giants. Ricketts Glen isn't just a park, it's a living staircase, shaped by ice, time, and gravity. And for those who walk it fully, it becomes a conversation between stone and falling water. In the center of the state, far from interstates and cities, lies the Quehanna Wild Area. Over 50,000 acres of uninterrupted forest, wetland, and high plateau where the land still moves on its own terms. This is Pennsylvania's deep wilderness, home to bald eagles, elk herds, and streams so clear you can see the stones shifting beneath the flow. Trails cross meadows carved by glacial ice, pass over sphagnum bogs, and disappear into oak and spruce forests so quiet you can hear deer before you see them. There are no crowds, no cell service, just endless forest breathing in wind, mist, and silence. Along the Mosquito Creek Trail or the Wyckoff Run Natural Area, time feels slower, wilder, more ancient. Quehanna isn't a park. It's a memory of what the Northeast used to be, and a reminder that real wilderness can still exist between rivers, ridgelines, and stone. Deep within the forest of Hickory Run State Park, the trees suddenly fall away, and in their place is an immense sea of stone. Thousands of boulders, some the size of cars, stretch unbroken across nearly 16 acres, a natural relic untouched for over 20,000 years. This is Boulder Field, a geologic anomaly left behind by retreating glaciers at the end of the last ice age. Unlike a rock slide or quarry, these stones lie perfectly flat, the frozen ripple of ancient frost, time, and pressure. Walking across it feels otherworldly. There's no soil, no vegetation, just silence, sky, and stone. On a quiet day, you can hear your footsteps echo through the gaps between rocks, a sound older than the forest around it. Boulder Field wasn't built. It wasn't broken. It was revealed when the ice left and never came back. Hidden in the forest of Clear Creek State Forest, Beartown Rocks is a massive collection of sandstone boulders. Some stacked 2 and 3 stories high, weathered into strange, rounded shapes and draped in moss and shadow. The stones are scattered like a natural fortress, forming narrow passageways, mossy ledges, and cool grottos that feel less like a trail and more like a maze built by time. Some locals call it a castle, others, a secret playground for giants. Climb to the top of the rocks, and you'll find one of the best hidden views in the state. A panoramic overlook of the Clarion River Valley, forested and unbroken as far as the eye can see. Beartown Rocks isn't marked by signs or spotlights. It's the kind of place you only find when you're paying attention. And once you do, it's impossible to forget. At the southern edge of Pine Creek Gorge, there's a summit most travelers never reach, Gillespie Point, also known locally as the Matterhorn of Pennsylvania. From its bare rock peak, the world falls away in all directions. Forests, gorges, and the winding ribbon of Pine Creek far below. Unlike the nearby overlooks with parking lots and crowds, Gillespie must be earned. A steep climb through maple and oak, past boulder fields and laurel thickets, until you rise above the canopy and step into sky. Gillespie Point is what a viewpoint should be, not just scenic but silent. Not just a place to look, but a place to feel how high, how wide, and how hidden Pennsylvania's wilderness still is. Hidden within the Rothrock State Forest, Bear Meadows is one of the few remaining boreal bog ecosystems in the state. A glacial valley where trees grow low, moss grows deep, and fog clings to the peat like breath. Surrounding the bog is a ring of ancient black spruce and balsam fir, some of which are over 300 years old. The area was never logged, never farmed. It has remained wild since the last ice age receded. The air is heavy with scent. Cedar, sphagnum, and something quieter. The boardwalk trail winds through thick moss and shadow, while upland ridges rise around you like green amphitheaters. Bear Meadows is not big, it's not dramatic, but it is sacred, one of the oldest unspoiled ecosystems in the Appalachians, and a living reminder of how much wonder lies in what endures. Flowing through the heart of the endless mountains, Kitchen Creek is more than a stream. It's a sculptor. Over millennia, it's carved a gorge lined with over 20 waterfalls, hidden in bends of rock and cloaked in dense forest. While the upper section is known within Ricketts Glen, the lower and middle reaches are less traveled. Here, the creek tumbles over stair-step ledges, through ravines of moss and fern, into plunge pools so still they reflect the trees like mirrors. Between the falls, the water glides over shale shelves and twists through narrow stone passages. Hemlocks arch overhead, keeping the gorge cool even in summer. It feels like a world within a world. There are louder rivers in Pennsylvania, but few are more elegant, intimate, and alive with motion. Kitchen Creek doesn't rush, it dances, and if you follow its steps, you'll see how wonder can flow through stone without ever stopping. Deep within Laurel Summit State Park, Wolf Rocks juts out of the Allegheny Plateau like the prow of a ship. A jagged outcrop of ancient sandstone, perched at the edge of a steep forested slope. A short, winding trail leads through dense woodland, then opens suddenly onto a high ledge with sweeping views of the Laurel Highlands. Below, hemlock groves and narrow ravines stretch toward the horizon. In fall, the color spills like flame across the valley. The rocks themselves are stacked and weathered, split by time and frost into narrow passages, crevices, and wind-sculpted ledges. Ravens glide on the thermals. Lichen paints the stone in green and silver. Wolf Rocks doesn't make noise, it makes space. A wide, wind-filled silence, framed by stone and forest and sky. It's a place to stand still and feel what hasn't changed in 10,000 years. Tucked high within the Laurel Ridge Highlands, Laurel Lake lies still and circular beneath a crown of forested slopes. A high-country lake born of cold springs and glacial remnants, protected by a ring of quiet ridgelines. At over 2,000 feet elevation, the air is cool even in summer, and the lake reflects the surrounding hardwood canopy like polished stone. Pine needles carpet the banks, and trails wind around its edges beneath oaks and mountain laurel. Early morning here brings fog rising from the water's surface like breath. By evening, the lake holds the last light of day in a perfect, windless reflection. Wildlife is common. Deer at the water's edge, eagles soaring overhead, salamanders hiding in clear shallows. Laurel Lake is a place of stillness and echo, one of those rare spots where everything slows down and you feel the mountain not beneath you, but around you. In western Pennsylvania, where forest typically dominates, Jennings Environmental Education Center protects something astonishing. A surviving patch of tallgrass prairie, a landscape more commonly found 1,000 miles west. This is the Jennings Prairie, a natural relic that has persisted since before colonial settlement. A space where bluestem, goldenrod, and wild bergamot sway in summer winds, and where the endangered Massasauga rattlesnake still hunts in tall grass. In July and August, the prairie blooms into a sea of color: sunflowers, blazing star, and monarchs dancing through warm air. The open sky feels endless, and the land moves like water with every breeze. Surrounding forest tries to reclaim it, but the prairie holds. Carefully managed by fire and stewardship, it endures as a living memory of an ecosystem that once stretched across half a continent. Jennings isn't large, but it's rare, and what it holds, open space, wild beauty, and quiet resistance, is the perfect ending to a journey through the unseen. In southwestern Pennsylvania, where forested hills rise over ancient rivers, Ohiopyle Falls tumbles through the heart of the Laurel Highlands. A wide, thundering cascade framed by rugged rock and thick woodland. The Yoyogeni River carves its way through sandstone cliffs, creating a spectacular display of whitewater framed by seasonal color. In spring, it surges. In autumn, it glows, and all year long, it roars beneath the canopy of towering hemlocks and maple. Surrounding the falls are trails, overlooks, and quiet forested ridges that offer not just a view, but immersion. Moss, mist, and motion define the soundscape. And from any angle, it feels like nature still claims this corner of the state fully. Ohiopyle isn't just powerful, it's beautiful in every season. A reminder that wonder doesn't always hide. Sometimes it flows loudly through the trees. Tucked into the hills of western Pennsylvania, the Raccoon Creek Wildflower Reserve is one of the most botanically rich places in the state. A hidden valley where more than 700 species of native plants bloom across quiet trails and meadows. In spring and early summer, the forest floor explodes in color: trillium, bluebells, bloodroot, and wild orchids, creating a soft, shifting palette beneath the trees. Shaded creeks wind between sandstone cliffs, and the air is thick with birdsong and filtered sunlight. But it's not just about flowers. This reserve preserves one of the few remaining pieces of old-growth Appalachian hardwood forest in western Pennsylvania. Hiking trails like the Jennings Trail lead through silent ravines, moss-covered boulders, and fern-filled glades. Raccoon Creek isn't loud or famous, but in the right season, it feels enchanted. A quiet spectacle of life unfolding petal by petal, far from highways, yet close to the heart of what makes this region wild. In Pennsylvania, the unseen doesn't hide, it holds. It waits in the folds of old mountains and the corners of deep woods. It echoes through the silence of mossy gorges, glacial lakes, and stone plateaus, untouched by time and unbothered by fame. Here, wonder lives not in spectacle, but in stillness. Waterfalls tucked between shadows, ancient rocks balanced in the wind, prairies that shouldn't exist, but do. This is a state that never needed to reinvent itself, only to be rediscovered. To walk its unseen places is to learn something rare, that the earth still remembers. And that what endures quietly, patiently, is always worth finding. If this journey through Pennsylvania's most hidden natural wonders moved you, Subscribe to Era Trails and come with us as we uncover more of what the world forgot to show. And share this with someone who only knows Pennsylvania by name, because the soul of it, that still lives in the wild.